But I mean, there was other great finds too. I mean, Tony, your artillery hammer.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about that. Like when I
I don't
first saw it, I
even.
was like, "What? Oh my gosh!" Then
Yeah,
when
I
you
don't
said
have it
what it
around
was,
here, but on the video, so it was, at this point we had gotten all the way through what we thought all the way through the camp, and it just, it sounded like iron, but it sounded real distinct. I mean, it was a good piece of iron. I was like, you know what, I really let's just dig it and find out. So I pulled it out, and at that point, I really didn't know truly the age of it. It was a solid iron hammer. Obviously I could tell it was a hammer. Kind of had a beveled edge on the end of it, and I didn't record digging it out or anything like that because it sounded like iron. And fell back in the hole, still had the hammer with me, and Garrett wasn't too far away. And I said, "Hey, what is this thing?" And he goes, "I think that's an artillery hammer." He looks it up on his phone right away, and I start recording at that point. And if you're watching my day one video, you can see kind of the reaction of this whole thing, and it all fit together so perfectly. I'm just sitting on a log. I'm going, "You've got to be kidding me!" And he turns around his phone. He says, "Here it is." And I'm like, it just, how did I just dig that? It's in beautiful condition. I'm gonna end up doing some electrolysis on it and preserve it and stuff. But obviously, that's never something I've dug before, or maybe even a lot of people have dug that iron piece before. But what a cool piece to find!
I'm looking at a picture of one right now. And Garrett, why don't you talk to us about what this actually was used for? It says it's a artillery gunner's hammer. What
Yeah.
did they use,
So
what did they use that for?
So from what I've read and through my research is I guess they used it to like the touch hole where they touch it with the burning wick to set the cannon off. Once you fire a cannon, if anybody even knows about firing black powders, it's very dirty, it's very gunky, and so the black powder discharge would gunk up the flash hole, and you'd use that hammer and some other piece of tool to hammer out the flash hole to reload your shot.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Pretty
Hey, well,
cool. I mean, that's one of the better relics, man. I saw. I was like, holy cow!
But it's one of those things that, and Ken and I talk about this. When we find something and you don't know what it is, and then you start learning more about the history, and then the research, and then the history of it, and then what it was used for, and then all of a sudden, the value to us as a detectorist all of a sudden increases because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm holding a hammer that they used back in the 1850s and the 1860s. Like, it's just insane.
One thing I didn't notice, and you guys let me know, was the head rounded off. Like, did it look like it had been used, or was it still fairly like maybe unused?
I don't know yet. Once that maybe start getting it cleaned up a little bit, I'll be able to find out maybe some markings on it or some show of wear.
So it kind of looks like a claw hammer, where the back is tapered off and comes to like a triangular point almost. The head is sort of round and almost octagonal, and then the shaft comes down and it comes to a point at the bottom of the handle, like a screwdriver almost.
Yeah.
And so, but the claw part of it's solid. It's solid iron. And every part of that hammer was used for something different. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's its only purpose. Like it was just used for that, which it blows my mind. You know what I mean? Like we can find artillery buttons and get all excited because it's an artillery button, and you find.
But that was a piece of equipment that they were using.
Yeah, pretty cool find, man.
Well, and it made me wonder what other iron artifacts might be hiding at this, because I mean, Tony, you just chose to dug that because you said maybe. I mean, sometimes bigger iron like that will just sound different, but like it just made me think, like, if you on just one signal that you chose to dig that was iron, can you imagine what other iron artifacts are there?
There's a lot of iron targets out there. I passed a lot.